1, and we are live.
Yay!
Good evening!
Kristen Finger, I have a very quick question to ask you. I know you're not a single lady. Oh, the single ladies. I know that you are spoken for. However, if you were, and you were on a superhero dating app, and you had a choice. I have not been single since 2001. That's not a brag. It's just I don't know how these dating apps work. So if you had an app and you had two gentlemen on this app to choose from, one of them was Loki Laufeyson.
I choose that one.
Well, hold on, you don't know.
Wait for it.
Yeah, but keep in mind, he's like, he lies, he cheats, he steals, maybe. Or the other superhero from the other universe, Batman. Ooh. Who would you choose? Ooh.
No, I would still choose Loki. Batman, I don't care if he has money. Loki is Tom Hiddleston.
I think that I would choose Loki as well. I feel like I don't have Batman to represent. I only have his arch nemesis. His arch nemesis being the writers of the Harley Quinn series, specifically season 3, which, if you're on Twitter and you're a comic book fan, I'm sure you're quite aware of what happened this week. We won't delve too deep into it, but I wanted to see if we could kind of, in a PG way, clue Kristen in, who swears she has no idea.
Yes, Kevin. Well, you already hit it on the head there, because Batman indeed was supposed to dive too deep into Catwoman in season 3 of Harley Quinn.
Keep in mind, this is a character who lives in a cave. So,
Are we talking dirty things?
Yeah.
It is a dirty thing, but it's not. It's a dirty thing Batman won't do according to the powers that be in DC Comics.
Batman won't please a lady down in the lady bits?
That's right. I would pick Loki.
Are you serious? Like, he's straight up, like, the writers were like, you know what? Batman does everything but this.
The Harley Quinn writers are like, no, Batman does this. And DC Comics, the brass, came back and said, no, he does not, because superheroes don't do that.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah.
If you do that, you my hero. Cue the opening!
Cue the opening!
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristen. Oh yeah.
This is absurd.
And we're back.
Guys, things from my setup are falling down. I
This is where you go, welcome to Remark. I'm your host, Kristen Finger.
Kevin, there's things falling. I'll use your helmet. Hey everyone, I'm Kristen Finger, your host, and this is...
Kevin Reagan, your host. We are here to talk about episode 2 of the Disney Plus series Loki, the episode title, The Variant. Ooh. Kristen, did you watch it?
I watched it 4 times.
Whoa, good. Wow.
There were so many, and I'll tell you why I watched it 4 times, Kevin.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, how many times do our audience members watch it? Because I know that it came out yesterday and people have lives. I do not when it comes to Tom Hiddleston. That is life. So I watched it 4 times. I watched it twice yesterday and twice today. Because what I'm noticing is there are so many things. Number 1 viewing is always, I'm going to sit here and enjoy this with my popcorn. Then 2 is sort of like, what was that? Wait a minute. Hey. Then 3 is taking notes, hardcore notes. Then number 4 is cross-checking notes and then also Googling things while watching to write down more notes.
Do you do popcorn in any of them but the first one?
It's just the first one.
I watched it in so I do
Kevin, how many times did you just watch it once this week or twice?
I did. I hate to say this. I'm on vacation, so I then I did a lot of research while we did other things.
Well, this felt like a lot of research. But one thing that made me genuinely smile. So Kevin and I are actual friends outside of this show.
Yeah.
And that means we've gone places together. And one of the places Kevin and I have gone together is the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, it's funny because, when the TVA shows up at the Renaissance Fair, I had a problem a little bit with it because the one character who a lot of people, did that character look?
I lost your sound. What did you say?
Oh no, Kevin.
Kevin, you ruined everything.
Lost your sound.
Kevin, you keep talking and I'll just say what you're thinking. Hi, I'm Kevin and I wear glasses because I can't see anything. Mike, we'll continue without him. Kevin?
Yes, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
I closed all my windows, so I'm going to be saying, that one guy who had a beard and that one girl who did not have a beard?
I'd rather be able to hear you than you have accurate information. And as a reminder to the folks watching at home, we have a Gmail account, remarktheshow@gmail.com, for all the things that you feel like you need to nerd out and tell us that we got wrong on tonight's show.
What did we get wrong? Last week we got 0 things wrong because we got 0 emails about having things wrong. So clearly we know what the hell we're talking about.
So Kevin, what were you saying? The TVA officer was annoying?
Well, no, so when the officer showed up at the Ren Fair, there was a woman there who they greeted immediately. Did she look like anybody to you?
No. Was she somebody?
You watched it no, she isn't specifically, but a lot of people say she has a very strange resemblance to Agatha Hargrave. So, and she does when you watch it.
It's not Cat.
No, it's not. It's not the actor. It's just there's something about her that was very reminiscent, and the way she reacted to these militant guards that show up at the Ren Fair. Nobody questions how you dress at a Ren Fair ever, regardless. You don't have to be within. I mean, it is a perfect place for the TVA to hang out. Because when we were there, if I'm not mistaken, it may have been a different time, but I think the time we were there, Kristen, there was a gentleman dressed as a member of the knight, or a knight, in Satan's army. There was a guy dressed fully as Gene Simmons from Kiss.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, and I was like, there's nothing Ren Fair about
that is the place that I feel like Ben Wyatt could show up in his Batman outfit from his Treat Yourself day.
Oh, good question. Ben Wyatt in Parks and Rec as Batman for Treat Yourself. Does he treat Leslie Knope?
Yes, accurate. Yes,
better Batman. He's a better Batman. Good.
So, I thought that moment was weird. Anyway, but what I did love is the song choice. We need a hero for it. Like, it really kind of brought me back to like when they played Just a Girl during Captain Marvel's fight scene. I was like, okay. I got like pumped.
Kristen, I don't mean to interrupt, but Nostalgic Podblast, who's one of our favorite podcasters about all things nostalgia, said the only complaint that they have about episode 2 was the use of the lamest song of the entire 1980s. I'm holding out for a hero. That's a real live
Bonnie
reaction
Tyler, come on.
right now.
Fantastic. If that was like Starship, I would get it. If they played like We Built This City, I could understand people being like, what are you doing? Look, I like it, Kristen. You seem upset.
We Built This City is maybe hands down one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
But I hear you. The third time through, it did feel forced, the song choice.
1985. What are you gonna do? It was perfect.
Jazz does say that they loved it because it was very Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok.
Yes,
style
Jazz,
vibes.
Exactly.
Yes, if you compare music in any Marvel film to the music in specifically in the Guardians of the Galaxies, you're gonna be let down because those soundtracks are the best. You will not find a better soundtrack.
They really, yeah. So, I'll break down what I think. I'm kind of obsessed with Loki in this series because we never get to see, I mean, Loki like this.
Yeah, in this series only, though, not generally, just in this series.
I am obsessed, but the Loki that we're getting to see and getting to know in these first 2 episodes, but we got to watch him be broke down to a low status character, and now he's trying to I don't know. I feel like now I want to watch Loki be a lifeguard, pump gas. I want to watch, like, I feel like we're watching, like, when he was, like, going through the paperwork, I was like, why is this the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life?
Yeah.
And when he, like, falls asleep, I was like, oh, Loki's tired from all his paperwork.
Were you angry the way I was, though, when he destroyed a perfectly good salad?
I was not, because that salad looked like it was literally just a leafy romaine with no vegetables or anything in it.
Mobius and Mobius is on a very specific diet.
One of the other parts that I think that, and I wonder, because I know that Tom has gone on interviews saying that the director had him do like a Loki sort of like PowerPoint presentation for the rest of the cast and stuff. So when he goes off on the difference between illusion projection and duplication casting, I really want to know if Owen Wilson added like Professor Loki here. Like if he like improvised that would be amazing.
Well, I almost wonder if that wasn't, now who knows, you know, and I can't speak to the script itself, but I know Owen Wilson in interviews has said there are things that Tom Hiddleston brought to the table that have been implemented into the series now. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was a piece of it. It was awesome, but it was a nice way for this Loki who's been subjugated to low character status to be like, no, you're wrong. That's not how this works. But I read this online and I found it very fascinating. And I've thought of it a lot, including when I was going to bed last night, when Loki dries himself off, which was awesome. It was a really weird moment where he changes his look and he's dry. Somebody online said, but he's still wet. He's giving the appearance of being dry, and I was like, wow. I don't know why that messed with my mind the way it did.
Kevin like pulled up his little blankie, brought his teddy bear in, was like, hey, teddy bear. He was still wet.
He was, and he probably felt wet. But nobody else saw him as being wet, and it's that vanity is like, it really made me think, and I like.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I still don't know if I trust Loki. I always trust Loki, but not in like the case of this situation. Yeah. But like, I was like, okay, well, wait, did he? Because I know he can't use his magic at the TVA, but they were obviously on Earth, so he could. So did he, but what I was wondering was, did he do that just to test, can I do this here? Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, maybe that was him testing the waters, but then the weird thing is he didn't really use it that much in that, I'm so sorry, really weird fight scene.
No.
He grabbed a vacuum and I'm like, that's not going to hurt anybody.
Especially that big dude. No way. Maybe Randy. If he was still Randy, that might have hurt him.
Yeah, Randy would have gone down, but not the big flannel dude.
Oh, for a minute I thought you were Batmaning. But to your point, it was really interesting. I like that they got away from being in the TVA the entire time in this episode. Mm-hmm. You know, we saw various locations in this one, including the Renaissance Fair, and then ultimately in this just weird, what is it, Roxcom? Is that what it's called? Yeah,
is that a store really in Alabama? Fans?
No, I think it's something within the Marvel universe, but I think it's kind of like an amalgamation of something else that is now being kind of worked in. And if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that there's a reference to something similar in Iron Man 3. So we may see, you know, I think we'll see it more, at least in this series, but possibly even when we get into the Doctor Strange film later in the year. So
Gotcha. So I liked. Well, I don't want to skip ahead, but I liked what they put Tom in this episode.
Oh, are you looking to jump right into it?
No.
Well,
I'm not ready.
I can fill for time with some Roxcart definitions and some reactions from the crowd so far. Roxcart is a vast retail corporation consisting of a series of sprawling sections headquartered in Haven Hills. The corporation town was run by Roxcart. It's a shopping mall in 2050. This is its first official appearance in a live action Marvel show. But to your point, Kevin, I think it is going to return. Eternal Fire 435. We have people watching from Missouri, people in Cleveland, people in Atlanta, people in Portland. Eternal Fire 435 on Twitch says the episode was good. Wasn't what they expected, but was still good. Nostalgic Podblast comes back with thought 1985 was a little too spot on to start, but then realized comic book wise, that's when, or not comic book wise, MCU wise, that's when the government created time travel apparently in 1985. So yeah, some thoughts from the crowd.
I love it because the person on Twitch, I'm wondering, that's a thing that I try not to do is I sit down and I say to myself, you expect nothing.
Yeah.
When I go to sit and watch any Marvel Cinematic Universe, anything, even in the Star Wars universe, because those are just two of my faves. I just don't want to set myself up, and then I just sort of try and enjoy it. I'm like, oh, and then I just get more excited. Kev, do you set yourself expectations and then you're let down?
Yeah. I try not to. I am the king of, it's a hard thing to do, man. When I'm reading a book, I remember way back in the day with the Harry Potter books, when they would come out, I could blow through about 5-6 chapters of the book while standing in line to buy it, and I would rip through, and then every once in a while I have this the devil on my shoulder is way bigger than my angel, and it's like, look at the last page. What if you die in your sleep? You'll never know what happened.
This is stupid. This is something stupid that I do.
Yeah.
I don't mind spoilers. I don't know why. But so I'm watching The Startup on Netflix now, and this has nothing to do with Loki. We're so sorry. But what I do is when I know the series has been out for a while, I can literally Google, does that guy die?
Oh, no, don't do that. Yeah. But that's kind of, I don't do that, but I do start to come up with thoughts and is this what's going to happen? And like so many other people throughout all of WandaVision, I was just absolutely certain without a shadow of a doubt that Doctor Strange was going to show up, as were so many other people. And then when he didn't, there was a degree of disappointment. And so I try not to do that. And we have a friend, our friend Tara Bennett, who has written the Marvel Encyclopedia. I would call her and say, do you think Doctor Strange is showing up in the next episode? And she would always say, Kevin, stop. Just don't. He's not going to show up. Don't do that. And then if he does show up, you're that much more surprised. So that said, I definitely attempt to go in with no expectations at all other than here comes the episode. And then a real quick thing with WandaVision, since we're talking about Roxcart, during that fight with the vacuum cleaner, if you notice, there was a TV in the background and it had a standby logo, and it was the standby logo from WandaVision that we all hated so much when we would see it. So it made it into this episode as well.
I love it. So the other thing that that literally, Tom really made me LOL in this episode. So his comedic timing, I don't know if anyone has seen his interviews with Josh Horowitz on MTV. He often does these bits with him, and he's very, very funny. And he does this Loki bit. And I felt like he literally took that and put that into the part where they were in Pompeii. And he was like, good. And I was laughing so hard. And his hair was flying gloriously everywhere. And I don't know if you also noticed this, but whenever he gets up, he flips his hair. It's almost like a superhero landing, but he does it after he gets knocked down. And I love that. I love that choice because he did it in other movies as well. As he always when the Valkyrie hit him down, he and gets up. When Doctor Strange has him land, he does the same thing. I love that he
do that. Is that a Loki thing or a Tom thing? If we watch other pieces of his body of work, will we start to
Well, he got knocked down a bunch in like the Night Manager, and he never.
Every
got
time
up.
you say that, I hear Chumblewoman. Like
He got
every
knocked
time.
down, but he got up again without the hair flip.
So actually, let's speak to the hair flip, and let's, if you have it ready to go, Mike, let's do our Loki. Oh Lord, am I going to remember the name of this
No,
one?
you're not. You made it too complicated to say.
Hiddleston hunky heartthrob objectification.
What a good transition. And Gina Drake agrees with you, Kristen, and says, yes, the hair flip is hilarious. Here it comes. It's Hiddleston, heartthrob, hunkiness, objectification.
Man. Are we back?
I added my voiceover. I'm not sure that was in the moment.
I want to say that like that's now in whenever we just do Hallmark.
That's like that ASMR, man. People are deeply into Mike doing that, so you got to do it every time.
So,
All right, should I throw it up? Here it
Yeah,
is.
let's see.
That's the one we're looking for.
He's mid-flip. Perfect.
I had to cool down. Hopefully that water reaches my uterus. All right, so this portion of our show is when we objectify the male character or the lead male character in a show. Sometimes we do this with Hallmark, so it's usually a different person. But since we're just watching Loki, sorry, Owen Wilson, we will be objectifying Tom Hiddleston every week, every episode. So apparently we're objectifying, this is the image we're working off. I think Kevin was jealous when I kept showing him shirtless last week. So Kevin, we've decided that we're going to see how horny we are by rating Tom 1 out of 10 horns. So what do you give him this week, buddy?
Well, listen, if he had shown up like this at the Ren Fair, clearly he's in kind of a Edward Scissorhands cosplay right here. That, or he's like deeply into The Cure, which we've all been there. He's really hitting that moment. It's, hey, Friday, I'm in love, is what I'm going to say right here. But here's the thing. I was ready to still give him a high number until you all had to talk about the hair flip. Some of us can't flip hair. Mike, I know
my
Mike's
God.
off screen right now. Mike, come back to the screen real fast because Mike also can't flip hair.
I also can't flip hair. Yes. But
No, it's rude. Nature is what's rude, Kristen. So based on that, nail a man at Tom, and he's merely going to get 3 hornies on this.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
3
yeah.
hornies.
Yeah, I'm not happy, Tom.
You're ridiculous. Mike,
Wow.
can you possibly be nicer?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Last week I gave an 8.5, and for those who didn't remember last week, this was the shirt ripped off. TH as Loki.
Solid horny.
Yeah.
Solid horny.
Yeah, and I'm trying to leave room, you know what I mean, for I'm not going to go infinity like Kristen did last week. There it is. So I gave a strong 8.5. I'm just heading into my number and your number, because your number is what really matters, Kristen, let's be honest. We've got a bunch of people already voting on in the chat. So Jazz just says right off the bat, Tom is always greater than Owen. Sorry, not sorry. So yeah. Achu on Twitch says Loki always gets a 10. Gina Drake on Facebook says a 100,
Nice.
and had the little, the emoji with like the person like kind of poofing their hair on the side. I don't know if yep. Eternal Fire 435 gave a 9. Give a 9, not bad. All right.
For improvement. Yep.
Yeah. All right. 8.5 was my score. I have been shaded a little bit by Kevin's remark of our hairstylings. Well, I will say this: when he put the jacket on and popped the collar, and I was like, "Ooh, this guy looks good. He looks good. He looks good in that outfit." I love that it says variant on the back. I want that cosplay to happen.
coat.
It's a great simple cosplay. I don't love this screenshot that Kevin specifically sent. I will say that. I think you look better.
Asshole.
I think you
That's
look.
why.
I think you look better in different moments through the episode. So, despite my like sort of like, ooh, all right, he looks good. I'm gonna have to go lower than the shirtless th. This was a long way of saying 7.1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what? Jealousy is shining through this evening, gentlemen. Jealousy is shining through.
100%.
I'm gonna break it down for you, okay? I know I took it to infinity last week, and Kevin got like crazy, so whatever. But What I will say is, when I watch these ridiculous Hallmark movies that we remark on, what do I love, Kevin? What does Kristen love?
A crisp white shirt.
A crisp white button-down shirt. Would they put my boy in this week? Okay! That was highly inappropriate.
Yeah, this show went off the rails the second Batman was mentioned.
But listen, then they got a skinny tie, which was even skinnier than Owen Wilson's.
Yeah.
Thank you, wardrobe, for understanding the shape of my boy. Now, then we put this coat on, shirt's tucked in, we got a belt, we got pants that fit really, really well.
Yeah.
He gets a 10. And that's
Wow.
Listen,
Wow.
that's the highest. I'm not gonna be crazy. I'm not gonna give you 10 million, not gonna give you, because here's the thing, I'm gonna stick to the rules, I'm gonna stick to the ratings. And it's 1 out of 10 hornies.
This week.
This week.
Yeah.
But that hair flip, because you know when else he does that hair flip?
What?
When? Yeah.
Oh, what does Batman not do?
Oh, I see.
When he's finished, boom,
Oh.
he flips it back.
Oh.
So listen, I give him a 10, and it's always going to be a 10, spoiler alert. But, oh my god, can I have that coat? Like, I have 2 Captain America coats, or rather, I have a Captain America coat and a Captain Marvel coat from the folks at Hero Within, and they usually sell their stuff at Wizard World's Comic-Cons.
They do. We love Tony Kim and Hero Within. Thanks for shouting them out.
Yes! Oh my goodness. So, Tony, make a variant coat so I can buy it. Because I saw some online and they are bad. But like the Hero Within stuff is like always such like amazing quality. So I would buy it in a second. So that was Tom Hiddleston's Hotter Than Anyone in the World segment. Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude.
Hiddleston, heartthrob, hunkiness. Objectification. H3. We're back.
Wow. That's a lot of hornies. Look, even the 3 is still a lot of hornies. Let's be honest.
I can't believe I'm still talking to you. 3 hornies? Are you
We're
kidding?
actually obligated. We have 4 more episodes we have to do.
Did you see him in those pants? Like pants alone.
Well, what if he had no pants? Wouldn't that be, that brings...
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
And folks out there that find Tom attractive, a good pair of pants on a good Tom, it might be because it's the mystery.
When you say a good Tom, you mean specifically Tom Hiddleston or any time? Like if we had Tom...
A good pair of pants on Tom Hanks. I'm in.
What about Tom Arnold? Where's your ranking on Tom Arnold?
I don't want pants. I don't want.
You don't want Tom Arnold? Okay, you know what? We learn new things about each other all the time. That's what friendship is about. No, but actually, speaking of, we have 4 episodes left. Before we started, Chris and I we really try not to talk about Loki at all, other than right here. And then after today, then we can talk up until the new episode comes out. And we were talking about Richard E. Grant has yet to show up. He's listed on IMDb for the last 4 episodes. IMDb sometimes is not right because anybody can, if you have an account, you can manipulate. So perhaps he shows up. I personally think, and this I know we're going to go into the theories at the end, but I personally think he's going to be either King Loki or Old Loki, or they might even combine them. I don't want to say amalgamation again because I already said it once, but an amalgamation of the 2.
Kevin, we get it. You have a word of the day calendar.
Yeah, that was the one. It's of the year. I'm way behind. And but that said, let's talk very briefly about Sophia. Help me out with her last name since I had to close on my windows.
I would say Di Martino.
That sounds perfect to me. She shows up. It had been teased, or maybe not teased so much, but it had been assumed by so many, and we all know what happens when we assume, that she would be Lady Loki. Mm-hmm. And here she is, and a lot of people are like, haha, I was right, here she is, she's Lady Loki. However, there's a huge, huge debate online. If you are somebody who watches Loki and then immediately watches like Easter egg videos and stuff like that, a lot of those videos did not even address this because they made them so fast and this theory wasn't out there, that she is in fact not Lady Loki, because she does not really look like Lady Loki. She's blonde, for one, which, Lady Loki has blonde highlights, but she looks more of a variant of Loki proper, if we will. And she, there were other characteristics. There were other things about her that she was dressed a la Loki, but for the most part, she looked different. So the speculation became perhaps she is the Enchantress. Yes. So if you happen to, and nobody does this, like one person out there, and if you're in the Twitch or Facebook Live or YouTube or wherever, comment if you do this, because when I go see a movie, Marvel related or not, I usually stay to the end of the credits because people worked on that. And like, I'm not reading every name. I'm not going to pretend I am. I do know some people in the industry. So some of the people, I look for their names, and that's always fun. But I usually just sit there just because I paid for the ticket. I'm going to stay for this whole thing. When I'm at home, I don't always do that. No. And with Disney Plus, because they will run the credits for every single country that this has been dubbed in, I'm not looking at the Denmark or what have you. And even though the Spanish credits come up almost immediately, I don't really pay attention to them. I fast forward through, in fact, to see if there are any like Easter eggs in the credits. Not realizing sometimes the credits themselves can be an Easter egg. And what I'm getting to is, if you're not aware of this, in the Spanish version of the credits, the actor who dubbed for this character, named the variant on IMDb, and in the English credits, it says Sylvie, right? Is it Sylvie, Kristen?
Sylvie, yeah.
Which in the comics, Sylvie is, I think it's Amora was originally the Enchantress, and then Sylvie is given the powers of the Enchantress by Loki later in the comic book. So a lot of people are now like, whoa, this may not actually be Lady Loki, and Lady Loki may not ever show up. Also, the Enchantress was a character that Tom Hiddleston himself in 2013 pitched to Kevin Feige to do in a Loki movie, if they ever did a Loki movie. So
he's executive producer. He might have had the power.
It's very possible. So there's a lot of speculation of who this character is. And to go back to, I don't know who it was. I don't remember if it was Gina who said it, but whoever said that in the comments about the expectations of an episode, this is to me why I have to drop all my expectations, because I thought it was going to be Lady Loki, and I, like many other people, may have egg on my face, and it's not.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Are folks in the chat, Mike, saying, like, I think it's Enchantress. I think it's still this.
There is... Totally, yeah. There are folks that say that no matter what, they always stay till the end credits. Turtle Fire watched the first credits. Jazz always stays till the bitter end for all MCU, which has been interesting on Disney Plus, because they do sort of their like design credits, but then they've got like the additional credits, and then there's like the like foreign voice dubs and things like that. So you can get a lot from there. Nostalgic Podblast brings up some super comic book related points, which we're getting super nerdy in here, which I love. They say that they buy the Enchantress theory for sure. They were seeing originally shades of a cloaked Doctor Doom at first as the variant, because there is a story in Fantastic Four issue 5 from 1962 where Doom would time travel and use similar portals that they've been using in Loki. So,
could you imagine?
Brain explosion. Yeah. And that's where we think that, John Krasinski's showing up as Richard Reed, and then it doesn't ever happen.
That was another one.
Exactly.
If we did this Fantastic Four crossover, would Chris Evans play?
Yeah.
Could we have him back as not Captain America, but as
Human Torch? John.
Okay, great. I'm just making sure we can get Chris Evans back.
Jazz also says that IMDb, is agreeing that they do not have that character listed, so this would be something that's coming from just the credits, not IMDb currently. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. And Gina's also in. Gina Drake also in for Enchantress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might be. I think I might be more into that than Team Lady Loki right now. Like, just of which direction they're gonna go.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great point. So
it didn't feel, Kevin. I agree with you and your point that like it didn't feel like a variant of Tom Hiddleston, you know what I mean? No. And we're only objectifying Tom Hiddleston, let's be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I was instantly like, oh, this feels like a different person that's just donning his gear, donning their gear, right? The Loki variant gear. And I agree. It felt like someone different, and that the Lady Loki is just like a trick, if you will, right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Here's something else on viewing 4. I realized in the meeting, again, don't forget to email us when we get things wrong because I'm not going to know these people's names. But when Owen Wilson was in the judge's room, she mentioned that there was another officer, like another, and then he mentioned it with like they made a big deal out of that she has another person that is helping her at all times and makes like, so I was like, I just have so many questions after this episode, which is where I love having these questions. And I also, the funny thing is I never care if they're ever answered. I'm just like, I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, and I think that's the way you have to go into it, because it's awesome to have those theories and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, at the end of this episode, we'll ask for your theories, so keep them percolating in your mind. But when they don't come to be, John Krasinski being one of them, that was another one. We're all like, yeah, that's gonna happen. If it doesn't happen, this will be ruined. Clearly, WandaVision was not ruined. It worked out perfectly, and whatever they decide to do down the road with Wanda and that continuing that storyline, I'm gonna be right there. So
yeah, 100%. Kevin, do you want me to get into my crazy theories about where the timeline split?
Ooh, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. We're gonna come back to do theories, Kristen, but I have a quick little game I'd like to play with you and any of the fans watching. So,
fun. Okay.
Mike, if you play that bumper to begin, and then we'll talk about it.
Did you give me a bumper for this one?
Didn't I? Didn't I give you the opening?
Like, just sing it.
There it is. Wow.
I can't see any of it. All I heard was Owen Wilson's.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah. So what we're talking about here is the MCU and Wave Runners.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna let a little secret about myself here. Love Ren Fairs, established. Big fan of salads. Not sure that's established, but I am. But oh my God, do I love Wave Runners? Like I am.
Can I correct you? And can we call them jet skis? Because we're
No,
not.
we cannot. No, we cannot, because they're different. They're different things. Jet ski, you stand up on. Wave runner, you sit on. You see how I'm lower? I'm lower here. Yeah, it's like a motorcycle versus like whatever the jet ski is. So
Yeah, but it was a jet ski. Owen Wilson liked a jet ski.
He did? It wasn't Wave Runners?
No, you ding dong.
Then send emails to remarktheshow@gmail.com, because I've already got it in the opening. What are you going to do, Kristen?
All right, keep going. What's
All right, here's the thing. Is it Wave Runner or no? Wow. Kristen, if you Google the name of various heroes or the actors who play the heroes in the MCU and the word Wave Runner, not jet ski, apologies, only 3 of them show up. And I went deep. Like I did a deep dive with 3 people. Wow. We're not going to show them yet. Kristen Finger and everybody in the chat who wants to play with this. Oh, by the way, if you're in the chat, wow. I'm not sure what happened there, Mike. All right, you want the piece to be over? No. You could easily cheat by typing in right now with Wave Runner. If your life is that meaningless and you need to cheat at a stupid little game like this, by all means, go right and type down. Go, here's this one, here's this one. But I can only find 3 people. I want to see if Kristen can guess who those 3 actors on Wave Runners are.
Okay, and these folks these are just random celebrities. They don't have anything to necessarily only do with the Marvel Universe.
Well, I mean, they do other things, but they are Marvel. They are actors from the Marvel Universe, yeah.
I hope I can recognize people shirtless on a jet ski.
Oh, no, you have to guess who I found. And
what?
Then
Out of, like, everybody?
Yeah.
All right.
You can guess. Go ahead.
Right out of the bat, I am going to guess that Chris Hemsworth has been on a jet ski.
The man is from Australia. I think he was born on one.
All right,
Go ahead.
Let's take a look. Was Chris Hemsworth one of the actors on a jet ski? That is correct.
There was another photo of him actually on it, but this one you can clearly see it's him. So I was like, well, he's right next to it. That counts.
One of one.
Pretty good, Kristen. I'm impressed.
I can't believe I got out of everyone. All right, I'm gonna throw out there. because you know what? I think he's into fitness, and I think he's adventurous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Clark Gregg. I'm gonna say Agent Coulson was on a jet ski.
Can I tell you, he was a name I put in, did not find him.
I'm sorry. Incorrect.
Can I get a hint?
Man, what would my hint be?
Give me a movie they've been in.
Oh, that would give it away, I think.
Yeah, the one is he's been in everything. Like gosh, I'm trying to think of how I could.
Has Robert Downey Jr. been on a jet ski?
Michael?
Has Robert Downey Jr. been on a jet ski? That is correct. Robert Downey Jr.
Pretty good.
has been
Pretty
on a
good.
jet ski.
Very impressive.
He kind of looks like Keanu Reeves. Are you sure that's Robert Downey Jr.?
Listen, Kristen, I'm telling you, I'm impressed because there's only one other actor that I could find in all of the MCU.
Yeah.
All right. Can I ask?
You can ask.
Are they female identifying, this third person?
No, they are not. I could not find any female identifying actors that were on.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. You know who else seems like would be a really good time?
If you get this, I'm going to lose my mind. Go ahead.
Because has Benicio del Toro been on a jet ski?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm just saying I have no photographic evidence of such. I will give you one more guess. Mike, are there guesses in the chat?
There are. Do you want me to say them out loud to help Kristen, or do you want me to
why don't you eliminate some of them? You know who the last person is, so say some of the people that are not.
All right.
Okay.
One of the people that is not, but it was a guess by Eternal Fire 435, is Chris Evans. Chris Evans. I'm sorry, Eternal.
Can I tell you,
435.
Chris Evans, 1 million surfing photos. So that's what Chris is going to be doing for the rest of the night. But yeah, no wave runner.
Yeah. We also have who else? Jazz says RDJ just seems like the kind of guy who would be on a jet ski. I think we can all agree there. We can all agree there. Gina Drake also guessed Chris Evans. There is one. Gina Drake also says Ryan Reynolds. Oh, not part of the MCU just yet, but I bet Ryan Reynolds has been on a jet ski.
Good one. Can I tell you, I even looked for Jon Favreau because he was in the movie Couples Retreat, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they ride them in that. Could not find any photos though. So
Kevin,
Wait a minute.
maybe you're just a bad Googler. Kevin.
I am. Oh, did I say Google? I was using Bing. Was that my problem?
Okay, so I only have one more guess.
One more.
Yes.
Okay.
And can I say this?
One of the
real
right
fast?
answers is in the chat right now. So if you want to,
I do want to say this real fast. If you just write any actor at all and the word Wave Runner, Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies, shows up about 1 million times. So
awesome.
He loves a jet ski. All right, I'm between two people right now, but I'm going to go with my gut.
do it.
And I am going to say Paul Rudd.
That's a good guess. And I have to be honest, I don't think I looked for Paul Rudd.
Oh, all right. I'm
My
checking.
other
I'm
guess is
checking.
Mark Ruffalo.
No, he was not. He was not. He absolutely was not. The correct answer is. Go ahead, put it up for me if you
Correct
would.
answer
Put it
is
up, Mike.
Tom Holland.
There he is.
Hey!
Yeah.
Look at him. Oh. I wonder if that was he's kind of old there. Cuz he was in that movie with Ewan McGregor where that wave hit that town and so maybe they had him on a jet ski from that. I don't know. I got 2 out of 3.
That's
For
pretty
being
good.
like
That's pretty
the most
fantastic.
Random game you've ever had me play. I did pretty good.
Yeah, if you're watching, if you find other pictures of MCU actors, tag us on Twitter or Instagram at Remark the Show, or you can hashtag us at Remark the Show, and we'll look for them and we'll find them. I can't believe I didn't look for Paul Rudd. What a mistake.
I just feel like he's been on a. I'm gonna do it now while whatever next.
Do it. I mean, he also plays a surfer in Sarah Marshall, so he's the surf teacher in Sarah Marshall.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. I'll do Wave Runner.
This is what the show has turned into, is watching Google. So, let's get into theories
No dice.
here. No dice, good. Phew.
Just the surfboard from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Perfect. Perfect. I don't feel like I failed everybody. Just a couple people in the chat, and Mike.
But has Owen Wilson actually been on? Oh, you couldn't find one?
No, I looked. I did look. I even thought about creating one, and then I was like, yeah. So hopefully by the end of this series, that maybe we should take a poll. Do you think we will see either of them? Is it going to be like a Zay Wataneo moment in Shawshank Redemption, where the two of them at the end of the series are Wave Runners?
But here's the thing. I think they're both on the same Wave Runner if that
hell
happens.
yeah. You know what? That takes my 3 up to a 10. To a 10.
My question then for the audience watching is, who do you think is steering the Wave Runner and who do you think is holding on to whose hips?
Friendship is the answer to both of those questions. Friendship.
This is what I picture. I think Owen's driving and Tom is just holding on and having a really good time.
Can I tell you, I looked high and low for Tom Hiddleston on a Wave Runner, and anytime I came up with words, not just Wave Runner, but I was like, there has to be something, because that's what I really wanted, obviously. Yeah. And everything I was finding was Tom Hiddleston and Taylor Swift in a very smart and comfortable bathing suit.
I don't understand why you have to bring up such evil things to me.
Because
that relationship ruined me for a very long time.
Joyous moment for both of them, and I wish them well.
No, I don't.
Yeah. So yeah, let's Mike, I think you have one more bumper here. Let's
do it a little bit.
In my life.
Theories. Oh, that might be my favorite one. I like it. I'm gonna play it a second time. Here we go. All right, back to you.
Did you note that when the woman shushed him in the library, he couldn't resist to do the shh.
I loved it.
Loved it.
I thought about updating that bumper, and then again remembered
that one.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not doing that. Why would I do such a thing?
So,
Kristen, you have a theory. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory, but it's not full-fledged. Okay. During my third viewing, I realized on the screen there were the listing of the locations as to where the timeline, where the
branches,
the things went. And one is Vormir, where the Soul Stone was located. One was Sakari. One was, is it Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yes.
One was Titan, hometown of Thanos. And Hala, the land of Kree. And there were others that were very important, like New York City. So So here's the thing. That's as far as my theory goes.
It wasn't as much a theory as pointing out things.
I think that's just information that the internet also has.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. What the hell are those things called?
Time reset
charges.
Yeah.
The reset charges, when they've showed us how they work twice, earlier in that episode and then at the last episode as well, and it obviously sets everything back. So essentially it goes back in time a bit. Mm-hmm. So my question is, if it's doing that in those specific locations at those specific times on those specific days, clearly there are events on those days that the Enchantress, Theory 1, would like to reset.
Yeah.
And therefore, what does that do? And therefore, I have so many questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear what people in the chat think. What is your intention? Hey, welcome to Remark. I am your host, Kevin Reagan.
Hello, and
Are you playing it again, Mike? Are we starting over?
I think so. I think we're starting over.
Yeah. So if anyone in the chat has theories, thoughts on what we'll say Lady Loki, just for the argument's sake right now. What her intentions are. I have no earthly idea. Like, I love that, Chris. I think that's a fantastic...
I looked up at least the Earth dates. Like, the one was September 21st, 1940 something, and I looked it up, and the Yankees won. Like, and I was like, are we erasing that win? Like,
Well, would that, yeah, right? Would that be something 1940? Would that be not 1940? Because I was gonna say, would that be Captain America? But I don't know. That's a great.
There was, because it was the other Earth dates are hang on.
One's got to be 2012, right? New York, 2012.
New York, September 21st, 1947 was New York, and
So that one could be Captain America.
maybe, but then also Asgard, February 16th, 2004. It's just very, I mean, there's a reason.
Of course.
Unless this is the craziest red herring anyone has ever done, or that graphic designer was like, I'm just going to choose random shit to put on the computer screen.
Do you know who's going to have the answer to that?
Who's this?
My theory. John Krasinski when he shows up. Mike, what do you think? You've been watching these. What do you think?
In terms of the different Nexus events and like what they could be, or just like theories in general?
Yeah,
Well, theories in general, but if you have any thoughts about the Nexus event, and
I do think that they will specifically tie into not necessarily everything that we've seen so far, but important events in like perhaps like comic history, some things that we hopefully will be seeing in Secret Invasion, that series. I think everything really is leading up. I think Spider-Man's going to be like fun and crazy, like, oh man, everything just happened. How do we deal with it? Yeah. Tom Holland on the jet ski. And then I think
another TH.
And then I think that Doctor Strange is going to be like, let's fix it all, and we'll get there. So I don't think that Loki is going to answer a lot of those questions, and they might even. I don't think it was a random graphic designer randomly choosing. But I also don't think necessarily they have a plan for like each specific one like is going to show up in different spots.
Okay.
But I think there are some that will pop up. The Chris Evans thing is interesting because technically they sort of alluded to this in the first episode. They according to the timekeepers, they were saying that's what was supposed to happen. They were supposed to go back and reset all those things.
Right.
You escaping was not supposed to happen, which already becomes a mess, a time F in your brain because you're but if like they didn't go back to do it, then how would Loki have escaped and all that kind of stuff.
Right, but also is Captain America, was he supposed to come back to his timeline, or is he messing with the time by staying with Peggy?
I think that will come back. I think that will 100% come back.
That has to.
Eternal Fire says that they think, just theory-wise, that Loki and Owen Wilson are going to like kind of join forces and just take down the whole TVA.
On the Wave Runner.
On the Wave Runner.
Yeah.
Jazz is agreeing that the game that was playing on the radio at the end of the first Avenger is that the game we were just talking about, the 1940s game. So
It was
Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome catch. Nice catch.
Yeah. So, so OMG, like if they really pull that off in Doctor Strange, I'm just gonna cry and standing ovation at the same time.
Yes.
So what I'm getting from what Jazz just told us, what Mike's saying, is 100% Chris Evans will be in Doctor Strange. So there you have it. And it will be a huge disappointment if he isn't.
But not as Captain America, as the Human Torch. So
and John Krasinski will be like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Wait, huh?
Exactly.
Wait a minute, you guys. I'm making Quiet Place 5. All right.
Awesome. Well, yeah.
Kevin, did you have any theories besides my just theory that actually never really wasn't a theory? It was just...
No, honestly, now I kind of did. I was blown away by some of the stuff that happened this week with the idea that it might be the Enchantress. The only theory I have is that I think magic, based on WandaVision, based on the fact that Doctor Strange is coming up, I think magic is going to start to play a much, much bigger part in the MCU. And once that happens, I feel like kind of all bets are off, which is awesome. But I could see people getting upset because it is one of those things where you can start to retcon almost anything you want at that point. And, they've earned a lot of things. There was always the talk as they would show the trailers of Loki, as if they would ever show this, and it would be the thing, that Black Widow is sitting there talking to Loki. There was that in the trailer early on, but now as we see that Lady Loki or the Enchantress has blonde hair, it was likely her that was sitting there talking to Loki. So, but that's like one of those things. Do you retcon Black Widow dying? Do you bring back Tony Stark? I mean, at that point, I had him just for our guessing game too. I don't have a Thor, so I couldn't put.
I'm telling you, that's what time travel does. And this is why I just want to thank Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure once again for
trash
being
can. Think trash can, Kristen. Think trash can. Think trash can.
a perfect film, and just describe, like, letting me understand time travel.
Can I throw one more at you? From one of our fans. Asks what you think was on the pen. Did you guys see? There's a big close up of the pen that he uses to sign that says Franklin D. Roosevelt High School, and what your thoughts are on that.
So that's again going back to that the judge having another person doing something very similar to what she's trusting Owen Wilson to do, which is back to the other person's theory of that Owen Wilson and Loki are just going to go against the TVA, because I think the TVA in the end is the bad guy. So I do think that, and I think the mysteriousness of the timekeepers, I feel like that's literally going to be like they're not real, or they're real, but I think that like that's not actually who's in charge. There is definitely someone or something else in charge.
Real fast too, I did read, and I'll talk about the pen. I know we got to end this here, but Ravonna Ravenslayer had referred to the timekeepers singularly at one point. I don't know if you noticed that. When she and Owen Wilson are talking in her office, there was a singular reference as opposed to the three timekeepers. And again, that brings in a lot of people think that Kang the Conqueror is behind a lot of this, if not all of it. And, that may be answered. Maybe we'll get some answers in this series. Who knows if he'll show up, or if he'll show up in the Quantum, I want to say Quantum of Solace, that's not, but the next Ant-Man film. But as far as the pen, I mean, like, that FDR, the high school that there was referenced, I believe that's where integration started, right? So, I mean, like, you have these real-world events that Marvel, great writing does, and almost like when you start to do fantasy bio, I can't think of the word, so I don't know if one of you guys wants to jump in and try and help, but
fanfic. Fanfic? Are you talking about fanfic?
It's not fan fiction, but using real world events in your fiction story. Yeah. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens in there.
Interesting.
A lot of people are getting very jazzed up. People are talking about the lizard people in the chat. Jazz wants to see Peggy Carter.
I know.
Nostalgic Podblast is pumped for Kang. Gary Copestake Jr. said Loki Bond, shaken, not stirred, in reaction to your Quantum of Solace reference. So people are very excited to see where the series goes.
Yeah, 4 episodes left, and we'll cover all 4, and we'll see if Loki gets hotter or maybe uglier. I don't know. I can't.
What is your problem?
I'm telling people, don't get your expectations.
Everyone, please follow Kevin Reagan on Instagram and just berate him for his 3 rating this week. I believe it's
do it on Twitter. I mostly Instagram's pictures of my daughter, but yes, your hero Kevin at Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want. And Kristen, you can find Chris and Cats on Instagram and Twitter as well.
And guess where else now? Guess who made 5 TikTok videos? Grandma did.
You can also follow Remark the Show at Instagram, and we are on Facebook. We have our own YouTube page. I don't assume that you're all Hallmark movie fans, but why would you assume we are either? This is how we talk about everything. So you do not need to watch them, but the movies. But if you want to watch any of our previous episodes where we talk about different Hallmark movies, we objectify all the gentlemen in those as well. And we have very weird and funny takes on the storylines that, as we all know, tend to be recycled over and over and over.
Yes. This has been a joy, a delight even.
I love it. Mike, talk about Wizard World.
I will talk about Wizard World.
Live event.
Well, that's a great segue. You must have been following us on social media, because we just announced that our very first live show in Chicago, which is kind of our namesake show, Philly coming up right after that. But Chicago will be October 15th through the 17th, so join us there. We also Chicago are about to make a big announcement about an upcoming series. In
Do
our
it here,
virtual-
Mike. Do it here.
Virtual. I can't. It's not. It hasn't been. It's animation voices of. You'll see what happens. And we still have our sci-fi fantasy series going on. So for all of you fans of that, check us out at wizardworld.com. Shout out to Jazz on social media for helping us.
Jazz is the best. And if you want Kristen and I to make that trip to Chicago, just hit Mike up nonstop. Mike, give your email address. Give your personal
That
email
is
address.
Mike G at wizardworld.com. I said it there over the years. You can, if you have an idea for a panel, or if you want Kristen and Kevin to come to Chicago, message me now. Although every minute they go past this new hour, they're less and less out of convention.
That's not our fault. Sometimes our producer shows up late and we start.
Transition.
Long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristen. Oh yeah.
This is absurd.
Wave goodbye, everybody. You're back on screen for 2 more seconds. Bye. See everybody next week, Thursday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right.